stop me if you think you've heard this one before. President Trump was stern, reportedly stern, with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in a call on Tuesday. He reportedly told him to permanently end the war in the Gaza Strip and that attacking Iran was off limits. But we've been through this before. I feel like this is Pavlovian, right? Every couple of weeks, we're like, oh, we're letting them do it. Oh, we're talking tough. Oh, no, we're going to let him. No, we're talking tough. President Trump, he sends the arms anyway, tough talk or not, and then says he's a great friend of Israel, but then says the suffering of the people in Gaza has to stop, not acknowledging the cause of said suffering. And then Israel goes forward and does things like this, reportedly that they're close to attacking Iran, according to Israeli Channel 14. The U.S. tankers are passing the Persian Gulf, had been put on high alert. The U.S. ordering the evacuation of family members and non-essential personnel in certain embassies there and preparing the embassy in Iraq. We all know only Donald Trump can put a stop to Israel's attacks of Iran and the people in Palestine, in Gaza, but he hasn't had the appetite to do it. It won't stop until he actually stops the weapons, not just saying please to Netanyahu or getting nasty on the phone. Now he's also saying, he also said to Bret Baier, that Iran is becoming much more aggressive in nuclear talks. That's what he told Fox News. And they're behaving differently. That's a quote. He says they're behaving much differently. The quote is, Iran is acting much differently in negotiations than it did just days ago. Who, again, is acting differently? Because when we began those talks, the U.S. explicitly said that it was okay with Iran having a civil nuclear program, enriching uranium up to 3%. Just days later, when it became clear that Israel was not game for that their line in the sand was 0%, the U.S. said, sorry, 0%. We said 3 a few days ago. We meant 0. 3 meant 0. You get that math? 3 equals 0. So let's talk about who is behaving differently. Also, take a look at this mixed message. The president always says he supports a two-state solution, but now Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, is saying, we don't actually. He says Palestinians should just carve out a homeland out of Muslim country. They have a ton more land. Just go there. They speak your language. The culture's similar. Get the heck out. Go. Find somewhere else. Invade them, I guess, is what he's saying. And he confirmed he said the U.S. no longer supports an independent Palestinian state. Now, Iran has said they will have a nuclear weapon. No, they did not say that. I'm sorry. Pretend I didn't say that. Iran has said it will have nuclear power for non-weapons purposes, and that they have complied with the UN body, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency. That agency will vote on whether or not to declare that Iran is in violation of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is so weird. Why does this require a vote? I mean, either Iran is compliant or they're not. Making that decision based on a vote seems, dare I say it, political. It's like voting on the solution to a math problem. That's not how it works. Joining us to discuss is Dan McAdams. He's the executive director of the Ron Paul Institute. So what do you think of all of these mixed messages? Does 2 + 2 = 4? Or we're not sure. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you guys, this is a weird day, and I've been monitoring things in all the places I monitor. And on the heels of President Trump saying Iran is acting much differently, which, as you point out, came at the end after he had his discussion with Netanyahu, which we were led to believe was him getting tough with Netanyahu, but it doesn't sound that way. Acting much differently, they've held the same position since the very beginning, which is that we don't want a bomb. We're not building a bomb. The CIA says we're not building a bomb, but we do have the right to civilian nuclear energy. So where is the difference? Maybe they were rude. I don't know what. But there's something strange going on because as you pointed out, not only are there press reports that the American embassy in Iraq is being evacuated of all non-essential personnel, but every other military base in the region is being evacuated. There was a major hearing on Capitol Hill scheduled tomorrow with CENTCOM Director General Kurilla, which has been postponed. There are a number of other things, even down to intense GPS jamming by Iran over Iraq, that point to the fact that something may be brewing right now. It may be Israel going into Iran or attacking Iran on its own. It could be the U.S. and Israel together. I find that slightly hard to believe. Nevertheless, something is definitely now. Maybe it's all a big psyop to get us all freaked out. You never know. But something big is happening within the last couple of hours, guys.
So you just gave me chills. And a lot of people in the chat room saying, let Israel deal with Iran. But it's not as simple as that, is it? Because letting Israel deal with Iran, we have over 50,000 American soldiers in that region who would be hit because those weapons that Israel's using, it's not as simple as, oh, Israel, just use your own weapons. These are American weapons that we know, and Tucker has confirmed that these weapons are also being sold off to China and given to China. So not an ally of the United States, but letting Israel just deal with this is a huge problem for the U.S., no?
And also, don't forget, I mean, we just found out Netanyahu announced that they're actually supporting militias that are ISIS to fight against Hamas. So ISIS is also getting our weapons there. But I think one of the things, possible triggers for this intense period of activity right now in the area is that the defense minister of Iran announced, I believe it was yesterday or earlier today, that if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will attack every U.S. base in the region. Now, if you look at a map, there's a lot of those maps saying, here's Iran, and they put their country right in the middle of our bases. Each one of those bases, if you could count dozens of them. So if that's the case, obviously, because we saw what happened on October 1st of 24, when Iran retaliated against Israel, when they took out that military base and the intel facility inside Israel. We saw the explosion. They clearly have the capability of doing this. So I think this trigger was the defense minister saying, we will hit these bases of the Americans. And as you pointed out, I've heard as many as 80,000 American troops. What on God's earth would happen? Now, politics aside, but to America, if we lost 100, 1,000, maybe add a 0 or 2 Americans in an instant because Israel decided it's better attack Iran now before the U.S. makes a deal, this is a disaster brewing.
I mean, you talk about a psyop. I'm sorry, you just got me thinking psyop, and I'm thinking now my brain goes down this rabbit hole because we've all been played so many times, whether it's the USS Liberty or the Gulf of Tonkin. We've all been played like pawns. You know it. We see all these protests across the United States. America's focused on all these protests right now. All these NGOs that are out in force right now, organizing everything, getting us all fired up for June 14th. Then you talk about the Middle East about to explode. Are we being duped right now? Like, look over here, don't look over here?
It's a great point. And it could very well be the case. The next round of U.S.-Iranian talks is scheduled for Sunday. So if you want to do something to scuttle those or to get America's attention away from what's happening, you're right. I mean, and everyone is focused. You see the streets on fire. You see what personally pisses me off more than anything. You see the looting of all these stores, the destruction. It does tend to make Americans, obviously it should. It's closer to home. But that's a perfect time if you're devious, like certain leaders that we know in the Middle East. Right. If you're devious, you're going to take advantage of that. Boom.
Now, what do you think the reaction would be in America if Israel bombed Iran and that reverberated on American lives? Would people then support a war with Iran, or would they say, hey, Israel got us,
attacked?
Yeah. I mean, Americans don't pay attention to the nuance enough to know.
Would we put yellow ribbons around our trees like the Gulf War and, rally our support?
Totally. That's exactly. The media blitz would be unbelievable. We would have to do some kind of something to funnel people over to the Redacted so they get the truth. But man, the blitz is going to be crazy. If a few Americans die over there, it's going to be crazy, and everyone's going to want to go to war with Iran. But this is not Iraq in 2002. Iran is a very, very different can of worms, very sophisticated, very large country, very complicated geography, and very sophisticated weapon system. This will be a disaster if it happens. And as you pointed out early on, I'm sorry, Natalie, just as you pointed out early on, Trump could stop this. He could just be consistent and say, no, Bibi, I'm not going to be like Biden and be wishy-washy. Gosh, I wish you guys weren't doing that. It really upsets me. Just say no, stop it. That would end it.
Yeah. You have a firm hand. Absolutely right. Now, Haaretz reported that Iranian media is going to release documents about Israel's nuclear program, which, the United States politicians pretend they don't know about. And so could that actually scare us into reality? Because politicians know but try not to know. So would this force the world to know that this is actually dangerous? This is a nuclear, they are guilty of proliferation?
Actually, I was watching these things escalate today, and I was trying to think what are the multitude of factors that could be leading Israel to try to attack Iran, if that's indeed the case. And one of the ones I was thinking about is these documents. Apparently, we're talking multi-terabytes of information, and not just about Israel's nuclear program, but very specific geographic locations of very top secret facilities in Iran or in Israel. And if that is the case, maybe if they've just gotten these documents, have not had the opportunity to completely analyze them, maybe Israel feels like we have got to hit Iran now before they, are really able to reconfigure their weapon systems to take out these places that they're now learning about. I don't know. It's just a speculation on my part.
Yeah. When I saw this, it was buried at the end of a Haaretz article. And I was like, wait, what? What? We're not being warned about this document release. That's being hidden from us in the West.
The mainstream media totally ignored this story. You had to literally find it on our sources on Telegram. I mean, it's buried.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a massive thread on X about, without going into very specifics, but in a general way, what kinds of information was intercepted. And it is incredible. The detail is incredible.
Well, it's worth remembering. I bring this up all the time. Mordechai Vanunu is an Israeli who blew the whistle in the 80s about the Israeli nuclear program, and they put him in prison for decades and tortured him, and he has requested asylum, and no Western country will take him because they don't want to piss off Israel. He is still an Israeli political prisoner. And so, I mean, it's worth knowing his name because he's been trying to warn us about this. Go ahead, Clayton.
No. I mean, Daniel, we'll just get you out of here on this because I know you've been watching this closely. When you say something big is happening right now in the Middle East, I mean, put on your speculation hat here. What do you think we're seeing? What do you think we're going to see maybe over the next few hours, next 24 hours?
Well, I hope it's a psyop, to be honest with you. But it looks to me like Israel wants to attack Iran, and they want to do it before this next round of talks on Sunday between the U.S. and Iran. They want to do it before some of this intel is used to counter Iran. And it looks, at least to me, like they want to do it quickly, and they feel confident that the U.S. Congress, which, by the way, the U.S. is not its first concern, it's a different country, that the U.S. Congress will pressure President Trump sufficiently to force the U.S. military to backstop Israel in this unprovoked attack on Iran.
Well, I don't like that, but hopefully we survive the weekend without that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. And I just, I'm worried about this psychological. Yeah, go ahead, Philip.
I just want to chime in. I have a quick question, but if that happens, if Israel does attack Iran, regionally, what happens? Does Pakistan get involved then? Because that's a nuclear country. How bad can this get and how quickly? Turkey, in that region, how bad could it get and how quickly?
Very quickly, because if Iran targets all bases, it's going to be taking things out in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be taking out the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. We're going to be paying $15, $20, $30 a gallon for gasoline. It's going to tank the U.S. economy. It's going to throw the Sunni states into an absolute uproar. It's going to cause places like Lebanon to explode, Syria to explode. It's really, this is a big can of gasoline, and Bibi is over there with this match lit, and he's trying to attach it to the gasoline.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, well, that was cheerful. It's good to see you, Dan.
Thank you, Daniel. Great to see you.
Happy Father's Day, Clayton. Hopefully we both survive to see Father's Day this year.
Hopefully my Father's Day barbecue.
It's not nuclear.
Eating irradiated meat or something. My God, Daniel, great to see you. Thank you so much, though. But look, we've got to tell the truth here. Thanks, Daniel, from the Ron Paul Institute, as always.